What is going on, everybody? It's Alex coming back at you with another video, and today I am giving you guys every single team's grade for the 2022 NFL Draft. Thank you guys so much for sticking with me through this. I wish I could have been live streaming every single day. Unfortunately, I was scheduled to work nights at my job, so we're trying to make the most of it. Thank you guys again for supporting me. We just hit over 1 million views on the channel, so that's awesome, and over 100,000 hours. So somehow, some way, all y'all have been consuming 11 and a half years worth of my crap. I don't know why, but I appreciate it. Anyways, thank you guys so much for, of course, always being there for me, because you guys have made this journey worth it, because it's a lot of work. It wasn't that much of a payoff, but you guys, again, made it worth it. Let's kick this off. Let's start off with the NFC North. You guys know the drill. And actually the AFC North, my bad. Starting off on a bad note, the Pittsburgh Steelers. We'll go through almost every single pick. I'll highlight the ones that I think are a bit more important. These 7th-round dudes and some of these guys who I don't exactly know, I'm not going to fully give you an in-depth report, because if I haven't done it, I'm not here to BS you. But Kenny Pickett, is my least favorite pick of our draft, which is actually a pretty good sign. Still think he's an upgraded quarterback. George Pickens is going to be that true X mold. You have him, Chase Claypool, and Deontay Johnson, and then Miles Boykin and Calvin Austin. I'll skip to Marvin Leal for the time being. That is going to be an elite group. I know how much the Steelers love to use Ray McLeod. That's a big plus for the Steelers to get Calvin Austin, especially in the 4th. I was like, God damn. So good job by the Steelers being able to revamp that offense. Again, Kenny Pickett, especially when quarterback wasn't taken to like 74, that was a bit of a reach. But again, if they took George Pickens in the 1st and then Kenny Pickett in the 2nd, I probably would have given this draft an A or an A+. So at the same time, it's like, whatever. I couldn't give it that full A grade because, again, we are still missing a true corner one. And then also knowing the quarterbacks were going to fall, we definitely could have utilized that. But still love the Pickens, love the Austin pick. Pickett, again, my least favorite pick, but I gave it a D+ at the time because Malik was on the board. The more I'm starting to understand that, if he hits the ceiling, he's going to be Derek Carr level. And again, he's an upgrade. Our team was able to compete with Big Ben, who should have never been playing. I think Kenny Pickett could actually be able to help us out a little bit. So I hope, for all intents and purposes, Kenny Pickett is going to have a great NFL career. DeMarvin Leal, you guys know damn well, if we're going to take an interior defensive lineman, especially that high, he's going to pan out. And they said that he was a defensive end, which is, I graded him out originally. Obviously adjusted it for combine measurements as like an 82. Like, he was solidified, graded edge 3. Like, I loved DeMarvin Leal. He was going to be a blue chip prospect if he actually continued to stick at edge. Did not, but I do think the Steelers are the one place where, we have Stephon Tuitt, we have Cam Hayward. Like, we have a lot of positions he can play. And you have a really great mentor there. Big fan of that. Connor Hayward, again, when you get to bring on Cam Hayward's brother, that's freaking awesome. I love it to death, guys. But moving on, again, the 7th-round picks, we all know the Steelers' 7th-round picks never make the team anyways. I didn't really like those ones. But yeah, DeMarvin Leal, my favorite pick, because, again, you have all those mentors. But had to go into my favorite team a little bit. Let's go to the Baltimore Ravens. Every year they get an A+ in the draft anyways. They know how to draft. And, I'm just going to reserve my feelings about the offense, just to put it very vaguely, because I think that how well they draft doesn't translate to how well they perform. Regardless, Kyle Hamilton was a steal. I loved him, and especially now having him paired up with Marcus Williams. I know a lot of Ravens haters are going to say, like, oh, they're not the best safety duo. They very well could be in the division. I think they're phenomenal. And I don't understand. Like, again, I know that people are fans of their team, but guys, take your fandom out for a second and just appreciate the fact that this much talent is on a roster now. Like, it sucks that we have to play them twice a year, Steelers fans, but it's still going to be at least good football. We're not losing to bums. So at least there's something we can hang our hat on there. Tyler Linderbaum is an amazing pick. Again, you trade Marquise Hollywood Brown and pick 100 for pretty much Tyler Linderbaum. And then I think you got like an extra pick in there as well. Did not highlight it, but for going forward, I think it is for every other team. If it's highlighted, it's most likely a traded pick. Regardless, Tyler Linderbaum was a phenomenal pick. I love that. David Ojabo, obviously Michigan DC is the DC of the Ravens now. Perfect fit. And they didn't even move up to get him. Huge fan of that. Travis Jones. Oh my God, that's my favorite pick. Arguably the entire draft. I think that he was I wanted to move him even higher, but the tape didn't exactly match up with me wanting to move him higher. I just really do think he's going to make a huge difference, especially with Michael Pierce being there too. Someone who knows how to use his size properly. Travis Jones is even better as a pass rusher. There were first round offensive linemen that got their ass whooped by Travis Jones. I thought he could have went up as high as like 16, 15. Like, I don't know what the hell happened. I don't. And teams are going to regret that. I think Travis Jones is going to be a 10 to 15 year starter, and he very well might make 5, 6 Pro Bowls. I legit think he's that much of a monster. Daniel Faalele is probably my least favorite pick. And if you guys see that, you're like, oh my God, it was still a good pick. I know. That's the point. And least favorite pick, I try to pretty much do the first 4 rounds. Like 5th round plus that's where it starts becoming guys you're going to be putting as depth. And I think that guys who will be making an impact in the future are ones I want the least favorite pick to matter. So Daniel Faalele, I mean, again, he's just extremely huge, and you just don't find dudes built like that all the time. Going to be sitting for a couple years behind Morgan Moses. Still a great pick. Jalen Armour-Davis, again, getting really good depth, and finally got their Alabama guy. They got jumped multiple times for Alabama dudes. It's kind of funny. Charlie Kohler, good one. I'm not going to comment on the punters. I didn't study the punters this year, except for obviously Matt Riza, who randomly went later, but Isaiah Likely is a really good one as well. Oh, this entire draft is phenomenal. Ravens, you guys know how to draft. Let's go to the Cincinnati Bengals here. So Cincinnati Bengals got Dax Hill and Cam Taylor-Britt. I don't know why NFL.com listed Cam Taylor-Britt as a safety. I know that he has that ability to play that, but again, that's kind of what Dax Hill is built to be, a nickel. Weird value. I know you guys see the grade and are like, what the hell? I just think, again, like when you look at this team, they could have invested a lot more in the offensive line. They did that in the offseason, I know, but Ted Cross is pretty much a backup player. He was playing for a scheme that was very beneficial towards him. I mean, again, he was on the Dolphins, right? He was the Dolphins starting center. I hope that I'm wrong with this. I just didn't really think that the value of like these top 3 picks, I don't know how many reps they're going to get this year. Zach Carter, I love the pick. I did. But I just don't know how much of an impact it's going to make year one. And this is a Super Bowl competitive team. A lot of guys here, Cam Taylor-Britt as well. I had a little bit of a later grade on Cam Taylor-Britt, probably like in the 90s. Still a solid pick. Like a C plus doesn't really, I guess maybe I should have moved it to a B minus. But if we're going to be honest here, I do think that you didn't really address that D tackle spot the way I wanted it to. I don't think Zach Carter's good as a D tackle. And you did lose out on Larry Ogunjobi. That's a big role. I think it was 600 reps that you just lost right there. So I really do think that would have been a good spot to target, guys. I really do. And again, even at pick 60, you could have went after Travis Jones. So to me, it kind of hurts inside because you passed on him twice. So that's why I got to give that one. My least favorite pick is Cordell Volson because, again, I don't really think he's that talented of an offensive lineman. I don't think he's going to make an impact on your roster. And I think there were a lot better offensive linemen on the board, like Jamari Sawyer that you passed on as well. I just didn't really think it was the best valuation overall. I still gave Daxton Hill pick an A minus. Like, I was a big fan on that one. Cam Taylor-Britt was a solid pick. Just overall, I just don't really think it increased the value of the roster. So that's where I'm at with that. A long explanation, but I have to be able to tell you guys, because when you give a C plus, you better have some good reasoning behind it. But the Cleveland Browns traded back. They got Martin Emerson. This is a very interesting pick because I don't really know if they need corners, but they kind of just went BPA. Alex Wright was my least favorite pick of the draft, though. I mean, it was just like not a very good one. Like I had him up in like the 130s, and I was very high on him. Just a kind of a reach. Again, if they swap that with Perrion Winfrey, which I'll talk about in a second, this would be probably like a BB plus draft. And I know, again, we still have to factor in the value because I'm grading the draft, not just the draft class. David Bell as well. Don't really know if he exactly adds much, but he does give at least another weapon. Really good football player overall, good space. Perrion Winfrey's a stud. Great pick. Love it. Cade York, not going to comment on it. It's a kicker. If he ends up working out, good for you. If he doesn't, oh well. Jerome Ford, another really interesting option. I think that, I mean, to be honest, the Browns love to load up on running back anyways. It feels a lot like the Niners every year getting more talent in that running back room. And then the rest, I didn't really like that much either. So Isaiah Thomas, I guess, was a really good steal in the 7th. I gave it a B minus, and that's still being really nice. Like it's a good draft. Just again, I don't know how many of these guys are going to get any reps. Like I don't think David Bell might get the most reps out of all these guys. Perrion Winfrey might be in there as well. I don't think Alex Wright or Martin Emerson are going to legitimately go in and be able to start day one. So I just don't know if it was the best valuation of picks. Again, you have, obviously there's a reason you don't have a first round pick. You have Deshaun Watson, but it's just, I don't know, not exactly the hugest fan of that draft. Let's go to the NFC North now. So start off with the AFC North, going to the NFC North, starting off with the Bears. So Kyler Gordon, Jaquan Brisker, fixing up that secondary. You guys should look up on Twitter the like description of Jaquan Brisker by the Bears staff. They did something like poor, hungry, and desperate, or PTS, like PFD, like I don't know, like PhD, poor, hungry, and desperate. Like the hell? That's how you describe someone who just loves football? Really weird way of describing him, but they loved his tenacity, and I really do think those two picks were good ones, except you kind of left out offensive line and wide receiver. Wide receiver is the big one because you went and got Velus Jones, who's 25 years old and is a gadget player. So again, I really couldn't give this much higher than a B, but you got some really good players in there. Braxton Jones is a good offensive lineman. You can use him at guard as well. Dominique Robinson's a great steal, very high upside edge rusher. Zach Thomas, not going to really comment that much on him. I didn't really like the Tristan Ebner pick. I think it was Tristan, not Treston, but whatever. Doug Kramer, again, depth piece. But I love Jatire Carter. I think I had like a 3rd to 5th round grade on him. I just love his tenacity. Really good player. Elijah Hicks, Trenton Gill, depth / punter. You know, it's the last picks of the draft. And Packers fans, you started off on a pretty sour note. Quay Walker. I know a lot of people are saying, like, Alex, you overreacted to the Quay Walker pick. I gave it a D+. I didn't even give it an F. Like, that franchise guy gave it a damn F. So, love Marcus and everything. But then they came back. They traded up, got Christian Watson. I really liked that move. Again, I actually had them moving back in my original 7th rounder to end up getting Christian Watson. So, at the end of the day, same result. Still like what I saw there. Sean Ryan as well. Huge fan of that one. He's going to stick in at guard and be amazing. He could try to play tackle. I think he's a guard at heart, man. I really do. That guy's going to actually start. I really believe that. Really talented player. Romeo Doubs, good deep threat. Again, you addressed your wide receiver needs and got some good value at the same time. Then Zach Tom, a 2nd round grade on that guy. I do think he can play left tackle. People are saying he can't. He has like half an inch shorter arms than Charles Cross and weighs more than him at an inch shorter. I don't know where this, like, he's too small to play offensive tackle came from. And it's over 33-inch arms. Last year we did like friggin', what's his name? Like Liam Eichenberg, who I was pretty high on too, ended up having like 32.5-inch arms. Like Zach Tom is a better tackle prospect than Liam Eichenberg was. But regardless, he can still play center as well. Don't know about the future of Jason Myers there. His name's Jason Myers. Regardless, I love that pick. Kingsley Enagbare is steal. Like, there's some really good players in here. Rasheed Walker as well. I didn't like him. Still think he's worth the 249th pick. Yeah. So you guys did a great job this draft. I want to give an A+, but again, the first round wasn't as impactful as I wanted it to be. Regardless, still freaking solid draft. Like, really solid draft. I like that a lot. Detroit Lions. I've finally come around to the Jameson Williams thing. I just totally fucked up on my terminology. So again, I didn't even realize that you moved up 20 spots twice at the cost of a 2nd round pick. That's an A+ trade right there. Jameson Williams, again, I'm hoping for the best for him. I just don't think he's going to be very well utilized under Jared Goff. Doesn't matter because he's probably going to be gone in the future anyways. But Aidan Hutchinson, really amazing pick. Jameson Williams, again, he's going to be a great player if you can utilize him correctly. I didn't like the Josh Pascal pick that much. Still liked it. But again, I don't know where he's going to play. You have a lot of role players, and you drafted 2 interior defensive linemen last year in rounds 2 and 3. I just don't know where you're going to put him. And there was Jaquan Brisker on the board. Of course, you got Kirby Joseph, which was my favorite pick. Value-wise. I try to keep it not to the first rounders when I can because it's not very fun saying, hey, your best pick is my favorite. But Kirby Joseph was amazing value. James Mitchell, another really good one. And then the last guys are more so depth pieces. Chase Lucas at the end, good value. He's a solid veteran. He's going to make a day 1 impact. But A- overall, again, I still think that there were some positions like linebacker that could have been filled a lot better. Minnesota Vikings on the board. Wow, we're back in mock draft season, baby. Minnesota Vikings, They had a really shitty trade, but ended up getting Lewis and Andrew Booth. Really good way to revamp that secondary. Ed Ingram as well was probably my least favorite pick. Big reach on that one. And I liked Evan Ingram. That's the thing. I'm an Evan Ingram fan. Brian Asamoah, a great pick as well. Caleb Evans, you guys moved up for him. It's a good depth piece. Sezzy, I literally felt like he was going to be a Minnesota Viking, 280 pounds, and he's a pretty freak athlete as well. Ty Chandler, I love him to death. He's going to be a good depth piece. Jalen Naylor called it a while ago. So you guys have good picks, but I mean, again, the trade, you can't deny the fact that you guys got totally screwed on that trade. And then you also trade up for, I mean, I believe you traded up for Ed Ingram. Not a fan of that. So regardless, it's still a B-, which is, again, really solid. It's a solid draft. It's just, again, you have to factor in what you didn't get rather than what you just did. Still think you could have gotten somebody as a D tackle to help out in the interior, but you know, you live and you learn. And again, it's not a bad draft class. Let's go to the AFC South. Starting off with the team that had the number 1 overall pick. You got Travon Walker here for the Jags. Again, I thought it was a pretty solid pick. I gave it a B. You know, again, I think there were better options on the board, but when you look at it on its own, really good player. If he pans out, that's going to be a great pick. Devin Lloyd, I thought was a really good pick as well. Luke Fortner was a bit of a reach for me. I understand the lack of center in the draft, and you obviously, Brandon Linder retired. I was hoping that you guys could move up for Tyler Linderbaum. Did not do that, which kind of pissed me off. Chad Muma, don't really know what role he's exactly going to play. The linebackers are like one of the more least valuable positions, and I was like, okay, you already addressed Devin Lloyd, so I don't really know. Like, I like Chad Muma. I thought it was a really good value pick. But at the same time, there's just bigger needs like wide receiver on the table, like getting extra offensive line. I know you got Luke Fortner in there, but there's still some really good dudes like Abe Lucas on the board that you can have as a backup tackle. So I just didn't really understand when you guys had this few picks and had that many needs that you guys just ended up like you ended up addressing your edge and linebacker needs. But that's like you had a short-term Devin Lloyd replace. Like Devin Lloyd is a short-term fix. Like obviously he's there for the long term, but you're getting instant impact with Devin Lloyd. Travon Walker, not so much. And Chad Muma, again, not as big of an impact. So, I mean, I loved that the fact that you replaced your gaping hole from Miles Jack with him, but it feels like you guys are patching the wrong spots. You know, you still had Jalen Tolbert on the board at 70. I know that you guys don't draft wide receiver usually, but you needed to. Colts, though. So I did the guest 7-round mock for the Colts with Bring the Juice podcast. And you know what? Our first 3 picks were Pierce, Woods, and Ryman. So it was like, oh, he's not going to be here. He was. Bernard Ryman didn't check out medically, so he fell. And the Colts were able to just scoop him up. It's an amazing job. Nick Cross as well, one of my favorite players. Eric Johnson as well. So I don't know why I just gave it an A. If I'm saying the 6th-round pick is bad, I very well might have given this an A+. I'm just hoping that Bernard Ryman pans out in terms of his health. That's pretty much it. But this probably could be in that A+ range. I might have been a little bit harsh there. Amazing job by the Colts. So as well as Eric Johnson, I did not even mention him. He's a really good player as well. Senior Bowl standout. Houston Texans. So gave them an A- at the end of the day. Derek Stingley, Kenny Green. Thought they were both reaches, but both really good players. And Jalen Pitre was a great player. Graded out as a top 10 player of my class. Had him over in like 33 range. But John Mechie, he was a little bit of a reach. But again, I thought it was a good pick. So you guys know that I was a big fan of this draft. Christian Harris as well was a great steal. Dameon Pierce, really good running back to fit in as well. Thomas Booker, high upside interior defensive lineman. Hell, Austin Deculus, it's a steal in the 6th round. You guys got really good value at every single pick, except you reached on your first 2. So instead of giving an A, I'm giving an A-. Again, good job. Seriously, good job. Tennessee Titans are next. I'm going to try to ignore the trade in this, like just the player trade, because I want to just talk about the draft. But Traylon Burks, Roger McCreary, Nicholas Petit-Ferrer, Malik Willis. That's how you started off day 1 and 2. Traylon Burks, again, you replaced A.J. Brown, so it was a big need with the player has very high upside and it's going to be very cheap. Roger McCreary, I know that I've pissed off one of his fans in my chat. I just don't think he's that good. It's not that he's not good. I also didn't really think it was a very big position to address for the team when you had a lot better talent on the board, in my opinion. So again, I was just not a fan of that one at all. They ended up getting Malik Willis though, so I had to boost that grade up. That's why it's at an A in the first place. Nicholas Petit Ferrer could be a really good contributor. He was someone I was very, very high on. So I like that as well. I was happy to see the NFL saw him that way as well. Hassan Haskins, going to be a role player. Chig, all right. Kyle Phillips is a great fit as well, like that. So really it was Kyle Phillips, Malik Willis, Ferrer, and Burks that kind of gave it that A- grade. McCreary was solid enough, but again, for the value, not so much. Again, it's just a really big value thing. It's the reason why I like Jahan Dotson so much, is because even though someone's like, his fan was like, oh, he only scored 1 touchdown on him and he was in zone coverage. I watched the man-to-man reps. That's all that matters. When you get to see how a wide receiver and a corner interact, there's a reason why I ended up loving Jahan Dotson. Like, it was because I know Roger McCreary had talent. Jahan Dotson just kind of outclassed him there. So next we are going into the NFC South with the New Orleans Saints. Guess the first 2 picks right, just in the wrong order. Chris Olave, Trevor Penning, again, solid talents there. I thought that the trade up was really expensive, and I think this team had a couple more issues to address. So that's the only reason why I gave it a B-. Still, they fixed their 2 biggest problems. I thought they could have gotten a couple more wide receivers, in my opinion, and they did give up so much. Like, you just can't come out of the draft with 5 picks. That's the big issue I have with it. Just there's not enough to replace or to actually fill the hole that you need. It kind of hurts a little bit that way. But Alontae Taylor, I just thought he was a big reach, and that's it. Like, it's not a bad player at all. It's a good fit too. But, overall, I'm just not a big fan of the lack of picks. So the Buccaneers are next. Didn't really want to give them that high of a grade either, but the Zion McCollum pick was the only reason why I boosted it up. Logan Hall, thought it was a reach. Again, I was really hoping for Travis Jones there. Luke Gadecki's a good fit. Just don't think he was exactly worth the 57th pick. Rashad White was a big reach, in my opinion. You had really good running backs that fell to the 6th round. No reason to take one at 91. Cade Otton, we all know he's just there to kind of fill that void of where Gronk was. Not exactly a huge fan of him. We got a punter, but then Zion was a great steal. That's the only reason, again, why it's a B. I had him in my top 75. So big fan of Zion McCollum there. Might be able to actually start for this team. Falcons did a great job. Drake London, Arnold Ebiketie, Troy Anderson, Desmond Ridder as well. All really good players. I'm a little bit confused because Ebiketie and Anderson are more instant impacts. I was hoping this team would just draft like the best player for the future. I do love both of them though. I love all those players. I'll just say I'm a little bit confused on the strategy, on the draft philosophy, because you have guys like Drake London and Desmond Ridder who will be there for the future, but then you have Ebiketie and Anderson that are more so impact now. And honestly, personally, I'd be wanting to tank, but that's okay. D'Angelo Malone was a big reach in my opinion. There were a lot better edges on the board if you wanted to readdress edge. So to me, was not a big fan of that one. Also, I would have went Calvin Austin personally. I think he was still on the board. So you could have went that. You could have went to Marvin Leal. Ended up going D'Angelo Malone. He's a good talent. Just, again, at that spot, not a huge fan. And then address the offensive line with Schaefer and then John Fitzpatrick, having the Georgia boys stay in Georgia. Again, you got a quarterback, potentially your future franchise quarterback at pick 74. That's, of course, going to garner that. And, of course, I had to throw the picture of me and Matt in here. Carolina Panthers. Kem Ekwonu starting out. That's an amazing job by you guys. I think you felt that the NFL was going to drop one of these quarterbacks, and they dropped. So you ended up going up into the 3rd round, getting Matt Corral. Again, really good player. Of course, this was back when I was on concussion protocol, so no uni for me. Brandon Smith, another move up for you guys. Great move as well. Really big fan of that. Mari Barno, probably my least favorite pick, and that's kind of sad because it's a really good pick. Cade Mays and Kalen Barnes. This would have garnered an A+, but I just think, again, there was just a lack of picks. But again, you address some huge issues. Of course, I did WB instead of quarterback, so got to love that typo, but it is the way it is. Let's go next to the AFC East, New England Patriots. Just not a big fan of their draft at all. Marcus Jones is a good pick. Tyquan Thornton has a high upside, but he's 180 pounds at 6'2". And we were talking about the Slim Reaper. That's a Slim Reaper right there. Cole Strange, again, I wasn't that big of a fan of that pick. Again, just big reach. It'll work out. Just, again, you didn't need to spend the 29th pick on that, in my opinion. But Jack Jones, Pierre Strong Jr., Jack Jones, he's so old. I just don't understand the exact necessity there. You didn't get a corner one at all in this draft. Pierre Strong's going to be a gadget player. Bailey Zappi's good value. Like, I don't understand this draft. Andrew Stuber is the only reason I didn't give it an F. Really, I thought that was a great steal, and it fits perfectly. That was my dream fit for him as well, besides the Ravens. New York Jets. So you guys kicked ass. So Sauce, I'm not even going to put his full name up there. Ahmad Sauce Gardner, Garrett Wilson, Jermaine Johnson to start out. Breece Hall is actually lower on than most people. Again, I'm kind of like a Michael Carter fan, so I'm hoping that they can work them together because I know Breece is he's a true bell cow back. So I'm hoping that maybe it'll actually extend Breece's longevity, but I just don't want Michael Carter to just go in the mist. Jeremy Ruckert, if that's my least favorite pick, that's a pretty damn good sign. I mean, you guys hit it out of the ballpark here. So good job to the Jets organization for just totally kicking ass. Miami Dolphins, I can't give them a grade because they literally had 4 picks, but Channing Tindall is a great steal. Eric Ezukanma, obviously, I don't think Broshma was a huge fan of that one. Didn't even have him, I think, in his top 200. Cam Good, Skylar Thompson, they're just, they might not make the roster. But Buffalo Bills are next. They traded up for Kyrie Elam, traded back for James Cook. And, I wasn't a huge fan of that James Cook pick. Huge fan of the Kyrie Elam pick, though. Fit a need with a guy who is definitely worth it. James Cook, again, they reached on someone that they're kind of getting desperate for. I think Ty Chandler, maybe in like the 4th, would have been a better pick. Personally, I like Ty Chandler. James Cook, again, I was a big fan of him. I was one of his biggest fans during the season. All of a sudden, he got overhyped, and that hype continued. Terrell Bernard, he's a bit older, and he's 221 pounds. I do like him, too. That's the thing. You guys had a good draft overall. I just don't think that you got the right value for the picks. Khalil Shakir, good pick. Matt Ariza, big fan of that one. So you didn't get bad picks. And I know that I forgot to change the positions on this one. It was like a 1 in-the-morning thing. But overall grade B, it's fine. You had some really good picks, especially you hit on the first one. That's all that matters. No, oh, wow. The NFC East is next. Washington Commanders starting out. Jahan Dotson. So I thought there was a lot of reaches in this. There were. The only reason it's a B is because you stole Sam Howell, my quarterback, too, in the 5th round. Don't know how the hell he fell there, but I'm just going to leave it the way it is. He could actually potentially start if Carson Wentz ever gets injured or anything. Like, I do think he has a potential chance. Fedarian Mathis, big reach on that one. I just don't get it. Brian Robinson, another guy who's kind of a reach. He's a good back. He's a good compliment back, but just not at 98. Percy Butler, big reach in my opinion. Sam Howell, again, steal of the draft. Cole Turner, kind of a reach at that point. Chris Paul, then, really good too. So yeah, you had it was kind of more oscillating between steal and big reach. I like Jahan Dotson. I gave it a B- because I do also think that was a reach, even though he's 19 on my board. Dallas Cowboys up next. I know y'all are gonna hate on this Tyler Smith thing. You guys will realize in time. You guys will like look back and be like, Alex was right. I was right that you guys would draft him. Yeah, he's gonna probably be on the rookie all pro team, like first team all pro rookie team for offensive guard. I believe that. I think he's gonna be a stud, and I think he's gonna be a really good understudy to Tyron Smith to become the future at tackle. Sam Williams, also, I actually called that one in the draft that I did here. I mean, he was like a 4.46 at 260 pounds, and he had 61 pressures. Big fan of him. You got Jalen Tolbert here as well. I love the value for that. Again, you're getting a really good role player. So definitely a great pick. Jake Ferguson, great pick as well. Well, let's go. Just felt like a Cowboys pick. Didn't like Deron Bland, but again, it's a 5th round pick. Damone Clark, good value. Ridgeway, good value as well. Overall, great job. I know other people won't say that, but they can kind of kiss my ass. Next, we got Philadelphia Eagles. There was not really enough picks to go and give them an official grade, but of course, those picks went towards your future at the wide receiver position. And you know what? I'm perfectly fine with that. If you guys want to address that by paying a wide receiver $100 million, I'll tip my cap to you. Really. AJ Brown's an amazing player. So you guys got him. You did. So good for you. Jordan Davis, obviously a stud. I love that pick. Cam Jurgens, that's my least favorite pick. Again, I think I gave that like a B-. Like, it's still a good pick. I think next year's class just has a lot better centers. I don't know if he's going to start. Then you got Nakobe Dean. So, the guy I would have gotten there, well, you got him anyways. So good job for you guys. Great job on the draft. Kyron Johnson, Grant Calcaterra, both are going to be really good role players as well. Kyron Johnson ran in the 4.3s as a linebacker. New York Giants next. KT, Evan Neal, obviously the only thing they did right in the draft, in my opinion, besides Darian Beavers at the end. So that kind of gives you a window into what I'm about to say. Wandale, I'm glad you traded back for him because he's certainly not worth it. Josh Azudu, I heard some love for him, but not that much. Cordell Flott, that was the big one. That pissed me off. Him and Bellinger, those pissed me off big time. None of them, both of them didn't deserve being drafted that spot. And then honestly, I don't even know if they're gonna. There's a chance they don't make the roster, legitimately. Not a big fan of either of them. Dame Belton, solid, not great. Micah McFadden, good value as well. Marcus McKethan, don't even know who the hell he is. He's also from UNC, so I guess they wanted Josh to have his buddy. And then Darian Beavers was a good pick. So, you got two of my top players in the draft, number 2 and number 4. So good for you. So that's the reason I gave it a B+, because the impact players were good. But after that, not so much. NFC West time. We're ending off with the final 2. Drake Jackson, Tyrion Davis-Price, Danny Gray start off day 2. I liked the first one, hated the second, and then was like meh on the third. Danny Gray can't even catch the ball. Hope to God they get him on a jugs machine. Tyrion Davis-Price was absolutely horrible, in my opinion. That was an awful pick. So I'm not afraid to be critical of the San Francisco 49ers. Drake Jackson was a great pick, though. Spencer Burford, I like that one. Samuel Womack, okay. Honestly, I think their best picks were Tariq Castro-Fields and Brock Purdy and Drake Jackson. So their first and then their last 2 were their best picks. It's just the way it is, man. It is just, it's kind of stupid. But Tariq Castro-Fields actually might start for this team. Really good steal right there. Definitely C- is being very polite, but I think it's just because they hit on those last 2 picks. If they didn't, I would probably give this draft a D- or an F. Next, we have the Seattle Seahawks. So starting off with Charles Cross, Boye Mafe, Kenneth Walker, Abe Lucas to start off days 1 and 2. Charles Cross, great pick. Boye Mafe fits what they're looking for. Kenny Walker, I mean, I think they're afraid of. I keep saying Carson Wentz in my head. Chris Carson retiring from his neck injury or just not being able to be fully healthy. So I think Kenny's going to have a really good NFL career for this team, especially when they brought Abe Lucas in as well. Revamped the offensive line, kind of showed what they're going to be leaning towards this year. And then they got Kobe Bryant, Tariq Woolen. I mean, apart from Dareke Young, there's a reason I put him as my least favorite player. I don't have a least favorite player on here, except Dareke Young, who I don't know anything about. So, yeah, they freaking kicked ass. This is, in my opinion, it's kind of bold to say this, the best draft. Because the Jets didn't even have anything past the 4th round, okay? That's cherry picking. This had insane value. So, big tip of my cap to the Seattle Seahawks. I never thought I would have said that too. So I don't know who the hell made these picks. Keep them doing that. Yeah, they deserve that because this is a ridiculously good draft. All these guys were pretty much gone by their points in the draft, except for maybe Kenny Walker. So good to them. Rams, I gave them a D. I ended up actually realizing I totally fucked up on remembering who Logan Bruss was. So he's a good fit. Obviously, Wisconsin linemen and Rams seem to work together pretty well. Not a fan of Nakobe Durant. Huge reach on him. Trade up for Kyron Williams. Not exactly a huge fan of that one. Might have been a trade back. But Quentin Lake, good value. Darian Kendrick, good value. If anybody's going to work on if Darian Kendrick's going to work anywhere, it's going to be probably with the Rams. Daniel Hardy, not a fan of that. Russ East, yeah. I don't think that. Legitimately, I don't know if Nakobe Durant stays on the roster, and then the final 3 aren't going to stay on the roster. I just really didn't think they upgraded their team at all. I don't. And I still think there's a big gap at offensive tackle. They could have addressed that with Zach Tom at number 3. Center was also a need. I don't get it. I don't. The Rams drafting philosophy really gets by me, and that's why they've been addressing it in free agency. Arizona Cardinals, I actually gave them an A. So yeah, you guys kind of overpaid for Marquise Hollywood Brown. But you know what? You had a crybaby at quarterback that could be a really good quarterback if he's happy. So you know what? That is fine. You still got Trey McBride, who's going to be the successor to Ertz. Cam Thomas, Myjai Sanders, both steals, in my opinion. Keontae Ingram, a great running back as well. Loved him. Letitia Smith, great value. You got Jesse Luketa and Marquise Hayes as well to end it off. You didn't miss. You didn't. It's fine. At the end of the day, The trade was like, oh, I can't give this an A+. But this is a damn freaking good draft. So tip of my cap to the Cards organization for being good after day one. So good job on you guys. Now let's end this off. AFC West. Starting off with Trent McDuffie, George Carr, Loftus. Yeah, big fans of them. Sky Moore as well. So, yeah, I think you guys did a great job right there. Brian Cook, you know, he was the biggest reach. I mean, honestly, I don't understand it personally. That's the only reason I give it an A+. But you guys kicked ass every other pick. Honestly, Leo Chanel should have been a first-round pick. Josh Williams, my number 80 player in the draft. Darian Kennard, at that value, fuck yeah. Jalen Watson, great build as well. Isaiah Pacheco, good value. Nazeed Johnson, I don't even know anything about him. But, you know, it's a 7th-round pick, 259. You only missed on 2 picks. Like, these guys could all actually make an impact on your roster. So, definitely like that one. I mean, again, guys, this draft was insane. So, big props to you guys for that. Again, great job. I didn't really think you could pull it off, but you did. I mean, I could have said my favorite pick was George Karlaftis, my number 5 player in the draft. But Leo Chanel, he's number 33. You guys got him at 103 as well. You guys just did great. I couldn't find a favorite pick, legitimately. So good for you guys. Let's talk about the Chargers here. Zion Johnson, pretty damn solid. Again, you got really good value there. JT Woods, another really good player. Isaiah Spiller, I was saying that was probably going to be the 4th-round pick. Otito, another really good one. Then you got Jamari Sawyer. The only reason it's an A is because you also got Jamari Sawyer later on, who's an amazing role-playing offensive lineman. Can play tackle if injuries occur. Can play anywhere on the offensive line. No reason hell he should have been there at 195. Jasir Taylor. I mean, again, I'm complaining about a 6th-round pick. It's a pretty good sign for you guys. So overall, really damn good job. With the lack of picks that you have, good job. Now let's talk about the Vegas Raiders here. They also kicked ass. I mean, obviously rounds 1 and 2 went to Devontae Adams, but Dylan Parham, great steal. I wasn't a huge fan of the Zeus White pick, but you know what? Whatever, I can cry about it, right? Still a pretty damn good player. Neal Farrell Jr., Matthew Butler. Thought Neal Farrell was a little bit of a reach, but Butler was a great steal. Then you got a damn steal in Thayer Mumford later on. And then Britton Brown was a good RBBC back as well. Wanted to give this an A+, but again, I still think that corner 1 position corner 1, corner 2 should be a primary focus. And you did have guys like Tariq Woolen on the board, who I thought would really fit that Belichickian style with McDaniels there. So only reason I couldn't give an A+, still great job. Last but not least, we got the Denver Broncos here. Starting out with Nick Bonito, Greg Dulcich in like pretty much the 3rd round. Day 2, you know, Nick Bonito, I don't know how much of an impact he's going to make year 1. Greg Dulcich is going to be a great day 1 impact, though. Love that for you guys. But besides that, no one else, I think, can actually start on this team. I really like Montreal Washington, though. You guys should watch it. He actually put up like over 100 yards and multiple touchdowns on Florida. Like, I watched him. I'm like, what the hell is this guy? So big fan of him, man. Big fan. Luke Wattenberg, good value as well. Matt Henningsen, good value. Fionn Hicks, also good value. So good job on the Broncos for getting good value. I just don't think that I think there was one dude who's going to start day 1. That's a little bit sketchy to me. But again, still a good draft. So let me know what you guys think. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you guys on the far side. Peace.